tell me why I'm catching symptoms from your broken pride. The scratches in my throat, they're telling lies. You tell me that you're different, my fever's running high. Oh boy, you make me lovesick. Count my pennies and my dimes, none of it's adding up. Oh, what a waste of my time to be giving up all this for you, for you, for you. Yeah, you only really cared for you, for you, for you, you. I guess I thought you were the antidote. So tell me why I'm catching symptoms from your broken pride. The scratches in my throat, they're telling lies. You tell me that you're different, my fever's running high. Oh boy, you make me lovesick. Oh boy, you make me lovesick. It's stupid. Boy, you make me. I'm catching symptoms from your broken pride. The scratches in my throat, they're telling.
Hey guys, can you hear me? I'm here, but I'm not here
Tell
yet.
me that you're different.
How's it going
My
today?
fever's running high.
Hey Molly,
Oh boy, you make
glad
me
you're able to make it.
lovesick.
Yeah, I've got a mic. I mean,
When you're
camera.
down on my
Yeah.
mind, it's a natural disaster.
So,
Was it all on the line? Only 10 with the wind.
but I'm about to get
For
started.
you, for you, for you. Only ever cared for you, for you, for you, you. I guess I thought you were the antidote. So tell me why I'm catching symptoms from your broken pride. The scratches in my throat, that's
Almost. So, who else is in the chat already? Hey guys, how's it going? It had some rain sound effect. I can't find it. That's okay. We can have some background music like that. Yeah, so I'm guessing everyone is, like me, curious about who this Lizzie person is, right? Hey, guys. Let me get this. There we go. Can everybody see me and hear me? That's crazy. I don't know what happened to the... It sounded cool. I just had it on there a second ago. I was thinking about having some rain play in the back. Nope. Nope. You know, Molly, I agree. I don't think they should be allowed any of the privileges of somebody who isn't you know, I think I found the rain. What do you guys think? Should I leave this on? This is what it actually sounds like outside of my window, but you guys can't hear it. I don't think you can see me yet. Hang on. Hey guys, how's it going? Hey Ellie, welcome to Timeless Mysteries Live Edition. So yesterday I tried doing this live, but I really didn't have the energy. Today I'm feeling a little bit better. I think I've got a little bit better of a story to tell. I'm just kind of waiting for a couple other people to show up. I'm checking my phone. Sorry. I texted somebody, said 5 minutes to LIVE, right? As a text, that sounds funny. It could be a threat. 5 minutes to live. It's a weird word if you think about it. I think I prefer to say live stream. I think it works better. It doesn't look like live in a text. But if that rain annoys you guys, I can turn it off. I've got a few songs I could play too if you guys prefer something more interesting. I don't know if it's too loud or anything. I don't usually use the background music, so you guys can tell me to turn it off or leave it on. I don't care. If I can just remember which one is the rain. I seem to have lost it again. Here's this one. Nope. That's crazy. That's just crazy. I just had it. It's called Veda. I got to remember that one. Yeah, I think it sounds nice. I wish you could hear the rain outside of my window, but you can also hear the cars going by and everything else too. And you can't really pick it up with this mic, which is weird because if somebody uses the microwave, I can pick up the whispers from the kitchen, but and that's like 300 feet from here. It's weird how this mic works. But I guess I'll go ahead and get started, just because if you miss it, you can just watch the replay. I don't have a lot of stuff to show on the screen, so I was going to share the picture that's in the thumbnail, but the picture I have has a lot of personal information on it. I don't want to be the one that's like putting that out there. And yes, today is the 13th. It is the anniversary. It's been 7 years since this tragedy happened. And I just want to remind you guys that the people who were, the friends and families of these victims are real people. And, they probably don't like hearing people like me talk about this story. I talk about it because people are already talking about it. I talk about it because I'm interested in it. I'm not trying to, take away from their, personal mourning or anything. I'm not trying to stir up anything necessarily. But I do believe Chris Watts murdered his family for the dumbest reason that anybody could ever do that for. There is no good reason, right? But his reason was even like dumber than anyone else's, I think. But I'm curious who this Lizzie person is. Let me see. I could probably share the thumbnail that I made. It's actually AI. Let me see. And it's there's a blurry picture of her that you can find. I found some Facebook stuff that could be her, but you never really know. Her name is kind of a common name. So, let me. to download. There it is. But, whoops, where'd it go? It's loading. So who is Lizzy Lee? Have you guys heard anything good before I get started? Like, what are you guys hearing? What are you guys watching on other people's channels? I've heard some really interesting things, and I think I'm just not sure what I think about this. It's like hard for me to believe that it's even real. I know a lot of you have told me that it is absolutely real, and it very well could be. I don't know how they can consummate a marriage in a prison that doesn't allow conjugal visits, though. I mean, would it even be a real marriage, or is it just like, you know, something they are like accepting as being true? You know, like, is this just for them, or is it going to be an actual marriage certificate kind of thing? You know, when I was looking through whatever I looked at, let me just say it this way. I found some stuff. I read it, and it sounds like she's kind of on the same spiritual path as Chris Watts. So in that sense, they might actually have something in common. But I have to tell you guys, I don't know what is real. There's like all kinds of rumors, and like rumors like create more rumors. And I'm coming in. I want to just be clear. I'm very skeptical of this person. You know, that she's actually going to marry him, or that she doesn't. You know, like she could be lying to him to get answers from him, or write a book, or maybe she's undercover FBI. I've heard that also. And when I get into the stuff I'm going to actually that I actually wrote, you know, I get into it a little bit deeper. But what do you mean, Molly, if the preacher is a prison guard? Is there a preacher? Is there? Oh, you mean like the officiate? The officiate? Who's going to officiate the marriage? You know, you can get married online now. You don't even have to be present in the same state. Just go to, what is it? There's a website, I think. You can get married in Utah that way. Neither one of you have to be in Utah. Only the officiate has to be in Utah. I think it's the only state that does this, and I don't know that the other states recognize that as legal, as binding. But so if you get married that way, you probably can only get unmarried that way if you go move to the state, because you have to be a resident to get divorced in that state. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and yeah, it's a Zoom thing. It's real. What is the name? I saw this website. I can't remember. I want to say something like Candlely or something. I don't know. I'd have to look it up, but it's real. You can really do it, and it started because of COVID, like a lot of things. So yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about Lizzy Lee. You ever stand in the grocery line, you're checking out, and then you see those tabloids screaming something like alien baby born to Kardashian, and you kind of roll your eyes and you're like, well, I don't believe that. And you think, well, I'm smarter than that. That's stupid. I'm not going to read that. But then you end up staying in the line a little bit too long, and you pick it up and you start reading it, and it sounds interesting. And then you start wondering, is it true? Well, I don't think I've ever actually picked up one of those. But the funny thing is, why is my YouTube recommended feed full of titles like Chris Watts' Secret Wedding and Lizzy Lee Revealed? You know, I think I even saw one about FBI informants and something to do with Nicole Kessinger. And, you know, these stories just getting bigger and bigger. It's really crazy. And the scary part is, why do I click on them? Why do I watch them? I don't know. I think it's just human nature to be curious and want to know, even if it's not true. It's the gossip of this story is just it's fun to talk about, I guess you could say. Some part of you wants to know what everyone's dirty little secrets are. And when you read a tabloid article like that, that's usually what you get. It's a juicy piece of gossip fruit dangling in front of your face, begging you to take a bite. You know what I mean? So let's bite. Let's talk about Lizzy Lee. This is not the grainy photo that I've found on the internet. It actually looks pretty close, which is kind of scary. This image is actually scary. I think it's funny. Chris Watts over here, he's got this goofy grin on his face, but what is Lizzie up to? Who is she? This isn't the grainy, let's not just talk about the grainy Facebook profile photo, or the breathless Reddit posts. Because what she is so far, in my opinion, is an idea with a name attached to it. And then, everyone's running wild with it in the Chris Watts universe. Supposedly, she's been visiting him in prison. She's engaged to him. Some say she's Shanann's ghost reincarnated. There's some crazy stories out there, guys. One of my viewers insisted that she might be FBI, and I don't want to outright tell somebody no, that's not true. It can't be true. It doesn't make sense that it would be true. But there could be something like that to the story. She might not be an undercover police officer, but she could be, an undercover reporter. She could be all kinds of things. The thing is, we don't know. I've seen on a couple sites where they show a visitation log, and it's like, here's the proof, and then you look at it and it's all redacted except for like Cindy and Ronnie Watts, and you can't see behind what's redacted. And if you do, like, I have actually seen the unredacted ones, and I'm like, well, this is a document that looks like somebody could just like make it in their, in a regular Microsoft Word document. They could put whatever they want in there. And it just makes me wonder. Well, Molly, I think with the FBI being involved, it would have to do something with Nicole Kessinger, I think. Because if she was involved, or if something, because everybody thinks that she had some sort of involvement in the case. So if she was some sort of informant or FBI or police or anything in that kind of category, it would have to be to gather information from Chris regarding other people who either helped him cover it up or something, or maybe he knows something in prison. That could be a thing too. I mean, we don't know his day-to-day routine. We don't know who he talks to or for how long, or if they may have shared some information with him that somebody else wants to know. We don't know any of that. My guess would be that from what I've seen from these Facebook posts is that she is like, she's into religion like Chris is. So I think they may have connected over that. And if that's true, then maybe it's nothing nefarious at all. But my mind is always wondering what the heck, when I hear about people wanting to get married to somebody who's in prison, and the only thing that comes to my mind that anyone can gain from this is inside information to maybe write a book one day, but I don't know how true it's ever going to be, because I don't think I could, even if Chris wrote it himself and it somehow got published, I don't think I would believe any of it. He's lied too much. But welcome to the Watts Island, guys. That's where we are. This is called Watts Island because, I think it's actually a swamp, not an island. And I think it's a bog. We get stuck in it and we can't get out. And, sometimes we get in and we're like looking at the information and, we start to get stuck in the mud. And the only way to get out is to like grab onto some of these like weird speculative things that are floating by. It's there's like a I don't know. Yeah. I think whenever you don't have any time for anything, like you don't get to do anything, the only thing you can do is something like go to church on Sundays or something that gets you out of your thing, your cell or whatever, maybe. So I think it gives him something to look forward to. In that sense, yeah, it is the Watts Swamp. It is not an island. You think of islands, and it's like, well, I want to get my suntan lotion out and my like little, beach lounge chair and just kind of hang out in the sun. But Watts Island isn't like that. It's dark. It's dangerous. You don't know what little bits of information you're going to believe is the truth that's actually not the truth. There's a lot of channels out there that I've been watching, and I don't think any of those people are sitting out there intentionally trying to give wrong information. They just, we can't tell what's actually, I don't have $2,500 to go to get that's what they told me it cost. If you want all of the discovery from this case, it's $2,500. You can buy it. If you get it from Frederick, Colorado, then it's all going to be real. And then you could go through it all, page by page, and find out what is fake on the internet. I don't have that kind of money to do that. But everything else I find online is like off of somebody else's website, and anything on somebody else's website can be fake. None of it's on like the FBI website or the CBI website or the Frederick, Colorado website. These are just people's websites. And, and again, like I said, I don't think people are out intentionally trying to spread lies. They're curious, just like I am, just like you are. Chris Watts the story is just insane because he's so normal on the outside. But it's really not an island. It's more like a mental swamp, really. There are a couple sites that I've seen where I'm like, maybe. But then if you listen to them carefully, they don't say that this is true information, that I believe this 100%. But, I don't think, even if I heard something, if I got to go talk to Chris Watts and he told me something, and I was like, hey, guys, Chris Watts told me all of this stuff, I would follow up with something like, but can we believe him? Because I don't trust him. I don't trust what I find on the internet. I want to know why Nicole Kessinger didn't get investigated, or if she did, I would like to know that she did get investigated, and that, the police decided that there was nothing on her phone that implicated her in any kind of foreknowledge of this event. Then, if that was said, which, that's just like 5 or 6 words, that could be said very easily, but nobody has. That makes me wonder more about why they're not talking about Cole Kessinger, and they haven't like officially like said anything about what they investigated and, just put the rumors to rest. Grizzly, I have not. There's a few channels that I've watched, and the ones that I have, they're bigger channels than my channel. And what I notice is, they're just like me. They're not really trying to spread, lies, but they talk about the gossip because that's what everyone's talking about. You know what I mean? I mean, that's kind of what I do. But, every like, yeah, where was I here in my script? Yeah. It's not a tropical paradise. It's a bog where logic sinks like a stone and gossip floats on the surface. In this swamp, every what if grows legs, claws, and fangs. Whatever ripples in the water, could be a minnow of truth or a gator of nonsense. I mean, we jump on it. We just we see a movement and we're like, we pounce. It doesn't matter if we can fight an alligator or not. We want that information. The gators are those big, ugly rumors. They've got jaws. And there's always this supposed proof out there, but you never actually see it. Hey, okay. Thanks for joining me here on Timeless Mysteries Live Edition. Hey, guys. It looks like a couple of others have joined in. But, this evidence that I keep hearing about that everyone's like, this does this proves that, it reminds me of Doctor Who. Doctor Who walks around with this psychic paper. He's like, hey, here you go. And then the person who sees it sees whatever they want to see. Oh, hello, Dr. blah, blah, blah. Hello, Inspector so-and-so. And it's a blank piece of paper. And that's what I see when I see all of these redacted things online. There's all this proof, but you can't see it. Only like a few people can see it, because they're not allowed to share the unredacted stuff. I think that is fake. I think that is a lie. But that's just kind of my opinion. You guys even know who Doctor Who is? I love that show. Well, I loved it until a couple of years ago, and then I kind of haven't watched it since. Well, as a human being that's curious, when I go online and try to pull information, all kinds of things pop up. And you have to kind of sort out which ones seem to be the most likely to be real, and you kind of look at you got to look at it from like a couple different angles. And sometimes with this case especially, what happens is you'll get like 4 or 5 sources that all say the same thing, but they're all 4 or 5 sources are wrong, just slightly. And it's because the best lies are those ones with the little tiny tweaks to it. And I think people have gone through and like doctored documents and posted it online as the actual thing. And then, somebody else finds it. When they find it, it gets shared and spreads that way. I don't know that it's always intentional, except for whoever's making these fake things. But let's see, where was I? Yeah, I don't know. Have you guys heard of like a wedding date yet? Is there a date that Lizzie is supposed to be marrying this person? I've heard that she's in like remodeling houses or like, but it sounded more like a construction job rather than a decorator job. But that was a Facebook thing, and it didn't have a face, so I'm not sure if it's hers. But I think that's how it gets. People drag this Lizzy Lee person, and you can probably Google her last name if you want to know it. I think it's probably better for me not to say it. But like somehow, like Nicole Kessinger's dad had rental property, right? And supposedly Lizzy Lee was hired by him at some point, or her construction team was hired by them at some point, and then at another point in time, the FBI investigated construction companies. And it's like this strung out like logic on, I don't know, it's like huge leaps that gets bigger and bigger. And, I can't let go of that thing I learned a long time ago. The simplest answer is the truth. I think as long as there's no official statement that like clears up all of this gossip, I don't think it's ever going to go away. And then, even if it does come out, I mean, I don't know, it could also backfire and make things worse. Well, Nicole Kessinger's dad paid off the FBI and convinced them to say this stuff. I mean, it's just weird how this story just keeps growing. It's been 7 years, and we just don't know what exactly happened. And part of that is because of Chris himself, whenever he lied several times about how this happened, and his story never came out, as this is definitely what happened. I did this, and this, and this. He probably doesn't even remember. He went crazy for a little while and did what he did. But, it's like we're all campers hanging out around the fire, listening to ghost stories when we talk about Chris Watts. We want to believe. We try to find the real facts. But you've got like two tribes on the Watts Island. One tribe claims they know the truth, they've seen the files, they know everything, and anyone asking for evidence is blind. And then the other tribe, rolls their eyes saying, oh, that's all made up. None of that's true. I want more answers. And then there's people like me that doesn't want to affiliate with either side. And I'm stuck in the middle of the road with the flashlight trying to make sense out of odd shapes in the fog. I don't want to be a blind believer, and I don't want to just deny everything either. I'm open to the truth. I mean, even if it's simple, I think I would just want to know. Once and for all, I would like to know. So, we can all let some of this stuff go. So, yeah, I can't find anything concrete on Lizzy Lee. I was kind of hoping you guys would know some stuff, like, is there a date? That's what I really want to know. I just keep thinking about that time that everybody thought Chris Watts had moved prisons, and there was like 100 channels talking about how he moved, and everyone was like, oh, I was the first one to say that, blah, blah, blah. And it's kind of funny because they never actually moved him. And then everyone just kind of like dropped it one day. I'm wondering if that's what's going to happen with this, But I have seen a list that shows other names on Chris's visitors list. And it does have Lizzie's name on it. But like I said, it's just like a spreadsheet, just a simple one that you could easily make. It's not like fancy font. It doesn't look official. There's nothing on there to suggest that it's official either. It's just like a document, Word document, spreadsheet, or, there's like lines in it, but it could have been a spreadsheet. There's, I don't know. Like, I need to find out more about what is allowed in Dodge Correctional to see what, how do you even go about finding somebody like this? And, I'm curious. I want to know what the letters look like. I want to know what they're saying to each other and how they bonded enough to, want to get married. But I don't really know how I don't think they can. Let me just try to Google it real quick. Let's see what comes up. I'm just Googling, can you marry someone at Dodge Correctional Institution? And I'm just going to see what the first thing that pops up is. Inmates may request to marry while incarcerated if the following conditions are met. Oh, this is interesting. And if I can actually find it. I got to share this with you guys. We'll look at this real quick. This is kind of cool. This one? Yeah, I think it's this one. I hope. Nope, maybe it's not that one. Window. Here it is. See. Can you guys see that? Can you read it? I don't know if I can. Maybe I can make it bigger. A little bigger. But, yeah, this is pretty interesting. This is the policy straight from Dodge. Inmates may request to marry while incarcerated if the following conditions are met. The marriage does not pose a threat to legitimate penological interests such as prison security, rehabilitative objectives, protecting visitors or other members of the public, protecting the safety of correctional staff and inmates. But there are no legal impediments to the marriage. By submitting the correct form, the DOC-1671, the inmate consents to the DOC sharing all verifiable facts related to the offense and incarceration history with the proposed spouse. So if she does marry him, this looks like something she actually gets that no one else would get. I think that right there alone is reason to want to get married to this guy. Because then you might actually get something that no one else has. The marriage cannot take place within 9 months before the scheduled release. The proposed spouse or the proposed spouse's children are not victims of the inmate. So she had never met him outside of prison, so that one's probably good. The proposed spouse has never been convicted of any criminal activity with the inmate. That's interesting. Unless it says down here somewhere else that they can't have committed any other crime. It's interesting to me that it says any criminal activity with the inmate. So, and it also says convicted too. So that's just kind of crazy because she could be a criminal marrying the inmate as long as they weren't committing crimes together. The proposed spouse has been on the inmate's visiting list for a minimum of 1 year. So I don't know how long have you guys been hearing about this name? Has this person been on Chris's visitation list for over a year? What do you guys? Molly, that's crazy. That they have iPads in prison. That's just crazy. But I'm curious how long they've been, visiting each other. I know it's supposedly like 8-hour drive for her. But yeah. The marriage ceremony must be performed in the facility where the inmate is residing. The inmate and proposed spouse shall accept full financial responsibility for all expenses related to the marriage, the clergy fee, the marriage license fee. So that implies that it will be real if they do it. I think they have to. I don't think, it's official if they don't consummate the marriage, though. Maybe it's different in Wisconsin. The inmate and proposed spouse shall find an officiant from the community to perform the ceremony. DOC staff and volunteers are prohibited from performing marriage ceremonies. So I think, Molly, you had asked, I wonder if it's going to be the one of the guards that officiates. Yeah, I've only heard about it for a couple months also, but maybe that's why they're engaged. They're hoping to visit each other for a year. I mean, if you think about it, Chris has got nothing right now, so anything is better than nothing, right? I don't know. It's kind of just boggles my mind that it's even possible. Where was I? Prohibited, yeah. The facility responsibility designate a marriage coordinator for each proposed marriage. I think this is either this is a background check. They got to obtain information to determine marriage eligibility. They need to look for existing legal impediments. They got to conduct a background check of the proposed spouse. And CBI. What is CBI in Wisconsin? Forward the DOC form to the inmate's supervising agent for completion. If not completed within 30 days, contact their supervisor. Consult the OSDP. Is that the supervising something? I don't know what these abbreviations are. Send the proposed spouse a letter to include the following information: his name and aliases, current and previous committing offenses, length of sentence, projected release from prison if available, any other information on prior criminal convictions the inmate that the coordinator believes is appropriate, and shall aid the proposed spouse in making an informed decision. So I can't imagine somebody saying, hey, it's a good idea for you to marry this guy who's in prison for life. But I mean, I guess if that's what you want, At the discretion of the marriage coordinator, the proposed spouse may be required to meet with a multidisciplinary team to discuss the marriage request, make recommendations to the warden on legality and the appropriateness of marriage, coordination with the DCC to inform the inmate and proposed spouse of any anticipated restrictions, approve or disapprove marriage request. If approved by the warden, inform the inmate that they may begin developing a detailed plan for the marriage. If disapproved, provide reasoning in writing. Ensure proper notification to staff. Compile estimated expenses and inform the inmate. Coordinate with their county clerk to determine the appropriate place to obtain the marriage license. The facility may arrange for transportation to obtain the marriage license. Now, see, that is kind of scary. I mean, obviously, whoever's not in prison's got to be the one that does this. But the facility may arrange for transportation, and it sounds like they might have arranged for the inmate to go do this. Now, wouldn't that be something? Chris Watts got out of prison for a day to go get married and then escaped. I don't know what I'm reading when I'm reading. I've never read this before, but you know, it kind of sounds strange the way it's worded. I suppose maybe there's other criminals who are not in their life that might actually get, you know, what do they call it, furlough or something, where you get released from prison for like something like this. Provide the wedding expense estimate to the designated business official staff who shall ensure that the inmate or spouse pays the wedding expenses prior to the wedding date. Provide security supervision and escort for the ceremony as required. Review Wisconsin state statutes and ensure all the legal requirements. Then you submit the form to the facility staff at least 120 days prior to the request, and follow, and then allow the sufficient time for processing. Then you meet with the marriage coordinator for an interview, which includes a review of the form that you filled out, which the inmate shall complete and return to the staff, which is kind of, they've already said all of that. An explanation of the DIA policy and facility procedures to obtain necessary information. The inmate and proposed spouse shall provide documentation of any judgments, divorce, annulment, or death certificates as defined in Wisconsin statutes, evidence of account balances over estimates of expenses, individually or with proposed spouse, bear all financial obligations associated with marriage. This includes, but is not limited to, the wedding ceremony, cost of obtaining the marriage license, to include transportation, officiant fees, costs of staff, overtime, and fringe benefits. Now that's interesting. I don't know what that means. What do you guys think fringe benefits means? I don't think Chris Watts is getting out of prison, not even to do this. I mean, I don't think that. I'm just kind of going over this policy that they have, like, how do you get married? So it makes me wonder, maybe like this is just like this isn't a real thing yet. Maybe there's something to it, maybe there's not, but maybe they submitted a form and they're still waiting their 120 days. Because I swear I've only heard this for like a couple of, like maybe a month, maybe a month and a half. Inmates may be subject to restriction of privilege or possible discipline at the discretion of the warden for marrying outside the provisions of this policy. Violating or circumventing this policy may result in restriction of visitation from individuals who contribute to the inmate's violation of DAI policies. Other requirements determine necessary for facilities, security, and public safety at the discretion of the warden. Appeal of the warden's decision shall be subject to another acronym that I don't know what it is. But this is kind of crazy that it's allowed and it's so detailed. But that also this line F here, inmates may be subject to restriction of privilege or possible discipline at the discretion of the warden for marrying outside of the provisions of this policy. Which isn't it the guards and the wardens job to make sure that all of the things have been checked first? I mean, that's what I read. Everything else. Yeah, this form popped up as soon as I Googled can you get married at Dodge Correctional? So you guys can take a look at it yourselves. There we go. So that's a lot of work to get married to a prisoner, I think. Have you guys ever watched that show? What was it called? The prison one? The guy breaks into prison basically to get his brother out. I can't remember the name of it. But there was a guy in there that was trying to get married. But then he escaped anyway and got out. Oh man, what was the name of that show? It was like from 2005 or something. It's kind of old now. So if I get back to my story that I was reading, that I kind of wrote notes for, I think I kind of covered everything. A lot of what I already said. So far, when I shine a light on Lizzie, I see a lot of smoke and not much else. Who is she really? If she is Chris Watts' fiance, how come, the prisoner or the visitor logs are all redacted and you can't see a name? Prisons don't run on vibes. There's paperwork. Where's the DOC approval, the background check, all those things that I just mentioned, all those things that I think are supposed to be public record also. If she's writing a tell-all book, where are those signs? I don't see anything that suggests that she might be doing that either. There is not a lot of information on Lizzy Lee, and I think because of that, a lot of people think she's, some kind of undercover agent of some kind, just because she can find her very easily on the internet. The social media trail, the big project coming soon, those are like things you hear. They're like little hints from authors before they drop things, and I don't know. I don't see anything like that. If she's an undercover FBI agent, why would that even leak at all? Like, why would that even be said out loud? Hey, Sway, how's it going? Thanks for joining. So we're talking about Lizzie. Who is she? Is she real? That kind of thing. I was hoping that there'd be a few more people on, because I know that a lot of people have more information. Oh, hey, Casey. Hey, you want to hop on here? I can send you a link. You can join me. Casey's a friend of mine, everyone. We're just kind of talking about Chris Watts. hanging out. Yeah, so I don't know that this Lizzie person's a real person, like in the sense that she's really gonna actually marry Chris Watts. She could be trying to marry him. She could not even be real. I mean, it's really hard to say. And let me see if I can find the redacted paperwork that I found that's supposedly the proof. And I mean, it's just kind of ridiculous because it just shows Ronnie and Cindy Watts on there. Yeah, I can't find it. I think you could go to like Plunder and find some of this stuff, but it's all redacted and you can't really see any of the names. But it gives like you know, times and dates, and I think the ones that I saw were from 2023. So that would suggest that she's been going there for a long time. But as I said, this document looks like super simple, and there's nothing official looking on it at all. And, you know, they could easily just change out the names and put whatever they want in there if you could actually see what's behind that big black box that covers up all of the names. And the Ronnie Watts and Cindy Watts show as a video visit only. They're not even like in-person visits. I know, but I can't seem to find it. So I don't know, with no public record, like it's hard for me to know. You know, I don't know. I was really hoping like Olga would be here. She knows a lot about this person. She probably is. Hey, Casey Esteban was he said he would come like hop on for a little bit, but he's at his son's practice, so I don't think I would want to be outside in the rain today. So what if Lizzy Lee is just a character we've collectively sketched because this story felt unfinished? The Watts saga has become a morbid soap opera. And every soap opera, when it slows down, introduces a new character, right? Maybe that's all Lizzie is, an injection into the drama, this narrative that we're all kind of like drawn to watch for any bits of new information to come out. I'm really surprised I haven't seen much more on Nicole Kessinger lately after that video of her leaked a few months ago. I think I saw a new fake video of her in the driveway, probably because I was like, hey, that looks like a that second image looks like the exact same image of Chris Watts, only, you know, shrunken down like 30%. And somebody might have saw that, heard that I said it, and made a new fake version, and it actually looks like a different person. But in this new video, the shoes don't match what matched before, so I know it's fake. Yeah, I know I get kind of bored with the Chris Watts story, but I know a lot of people don't know about this story, and I think there's a lot of important things that come from knowing about these things, because this was just a regular family. They had regular problems, and if you look at it that way, there's a lot of things that have happened to thousands of other people, maybe millions of other people, and they didn't end up in this same scenario. So what is it about this family that things were different? I think it's important that people know that this could happen, even if you think everything's fine. You need to be talking with your partner to figure this stuff out before something like this happened. But yeah, this mystery woman, Lizzy Lee, I really didn't want to talk about her because I don't know that it's even real, unless she gets on a YouTube channel and says, "Hey, this is who I am. This is why this is happening. I'm not doing this, not doing that. I'm trying to do this or whatever." Maybe I can believe it, but it could all be fake, all of it, unless there's official public records of it happening. So until I see those, I'm just going to be speculative. I'll be suspicious, That's what I meant to say. There's a lot of good stories out there on this case because, when a lot of people are talking about something, this big collective fiction ends up kind of clouding over the facts, and it gets more interesting than actual facts. And so that grows and grows. So that's kind of what I think this is what has happened with the Chris Watts case. I've been trying to figure out why Chris Coleman's case doesn't get, talked about as much. Hey, Cuff, you don't like my music? I can turn it off. Let me see. Maybe I can find I had rain going earlier. I don't usually use the music. Let's see. No. Just a little better for a quiet ambience. Hey, Olga, you made it. I thought you probably went to bed. I know it's late, everywhere except for Alaska. So I turned off. Well, I lowered the music. You should be able to hear me more than the music. But yeah, you guys missed it. I read from the How to Get Married guide of the Dodge Correctional, from the Dodge's documents, how to get married. Boom. It's kind of crazy, really. But Cuffy, I know you know some stuff about this Lizzie person. I don't know that she's real. I want to believe it, but she looks so devious in the picture. The one picture that I've seen is kind of blurry. Yeah, that document is really interesting. I kind of pointed out a few things that I thought was weird in it, but it is possible to get married at Dodge Correctional Institution. Yeah, I don't think she's real either. And if she is real, she's up to something, is what I think. Either it's, as some kind of law enforcement informant or, a secret writer. I don't know. But did you notice the part about where it says that they will release everything on the guy to the spouse? Because I thought that was really interesting, because that could be more information than what is already public when they disclose all of the stuff to her. Let me see if I can find that. Well, I already closed it. Doesn't look like I can. Yeah. I don't want to Google it again, but it was interesting to read, and I think there would be a benefit for somebody, especially a writer, to marry this guy, because they get something from doing that. They get all of the documents on his crime, what he did, what he, how everything was played out. And I don't think it's just going to be like what we already all know. More inclusive than that. But I think she's just a rumor, because were you here whenever I said I think it's like part of a soap opera plot? Like the story's getting kind of dry lately. Nobody's got any new information, and suddenly there's a new character in the midst. It's like, what the heck? I've seen some really good fake videos of somebody else in the driveway lately too. But I don't think they're real. I don't know that she's real. I don't. Yeah, that's what I think. I think that unless I see an actual marriage certificate, it's not real. I've seen the redacted things. I saw what's supposedly underneath the redacted, like, visitation lists, and it's too easy to fake that stuff. I mean, I don't know who would want to marry this guy anyway. I mean, other than, if they're getting something out of it. And what does Chris gain out of it? Somebody to buy him stuff at the commissary, It's not Watts Island, guys. It's Watts Swamp. Don't get stuck in the muck. It's mostly fake. Most of the stuff that we talk about of this case is just like gossip, It's even the stuff that comes directly from the discovery, it doesn't always seem like it's been like completely verified. They had started compiling all this stuff, but it never went to trial, so they didn't have to like go through and sort out what is good evidence and what is bad evidence. It's just a big pile of stuff. And now you've got this Lizzie person in that pile, or not real. I kind of lean toward not real. But, I think people in general like to talk about things like this. And, people have been gossiping since time began. I don't like to like gossip about, people, but every once in a while I'll be like, oh, I don't like to gossip. But then I say something else like, oh man, but that one time, and I don't even think about it. I don't mean to do that still, Yeah. At the beginning of this, I was like, this is a headline, see in a tabloid magazine. But this is what I keep finding in my YouTube feed. Stories about this. It's like new information. Chris Watts is having a baby with so-and-so. I mean, it's like, where does this stuff even come from? And I put a lot of like time in the stuff I create, and it gets like 10 views. But like all this fake stuff gets like thousands, hundreds of thousands of views. It's crazy. But you know what? I just thought of something. I kind of shared some of this yesterday for the members only. I was trying to do this live, but it didn't really work. I didn't have the energy. I just wasn't really feeling it. But I didn't do the whole thing. But shoot, I'm trying to find this video that I'm working on. See see what you guys think. So I got a few more of you here. Just have to find it. And it doesn't look like it's going to be easy to find. There it is. So hopefully in a sec I can share this. This is, a video that I put a lot of time and effort into writing last year. It's an old video, but I'm trying to redo it just to kind of see if I can make it better now that I'm a little bit better at everything without changing too much of what was really good about it. Most likely, I know you guys, I know the guys those of you here will watch it and like it, but I don't know that it's going to get noticed like the original one did. And I think that was just kind of luck, really. Let me see if I can. Shoot, it's not going to let me show it. Well, here, you know what? It's going to take a few minutes to get it, because I opened it in a different. I have to get it off of my Google Drive, and I'm not signed into my Google Drive on this browser. So here in a couple minutes, I'll share before I go tonight. I'll share it with you guys, at least some of it, not the whole thing, because I don't want to ruin the surprise. But if you see something wrong, now would be the time to tell me, so I still have time to edit it. I don't expect to have it done for a couple weeks, because I don't really get a lot of time to work on this stuff. But I did find some pretty cool music, and I can play more of stuff like this. I heard somebody wants to see me. It's not published yet, but I could share that. Well, I don't know. You guys have already seen my latest short on this watch. It should be almost done. Oh, nope. It's going to be a while, but it's okay. It's worth waiting for. But I would like some input on it so that I can make changes. I'm planning to change the intro. That's what I'm working on right now, is the introduction. I want it to be, I just want it to be good. I like to make everything that I do. I like my next video to be better than my last one, and it doesn't have to be like drastically better. I just want, some improvement. And I know I've gotten much better than I was last year. And if you look back to 2023, my first few videos were horrible. I didn't even try to make the video. It was basically a podcast, but the video was background noise is what I was going for. But I didn't know that. I didn't really know how to make videos at all. Maybe I could share something on this. I haven't. I deleted so much stuff. I would like some ideas for, ghost stories. I am going to do something ghost story related for Halloween coming up. Yeah, I think I've already shared the ones that's on here, but I tried saving all of, like, I deleted probably 200 videos whenever I switched timeless mysteries from historical mysteries to only true crime. Before that, I was doing conspiracy theories and you know, aliens, you know, secret islands and things like that. I thought it was really good, but it just never really took off. I had one video that did good and then nothing else, and I had another channel called Deliberately Deadly, where I did my first few true crime videos, and it couldn't get monetized, and I'm not sure why. They wouldn't tell me what policy I was violating, but I don't think I did anything like, you know, intentionally wrong anyway, unless it was a title or something. Yeah, this thing, I think because I'm trying to wait for it, I can stay in 1 minute for like 3 minutes. But I guess while we wait, yeah, I have to use Google Chrome for StreamYard, and because of that, like, all my saved stuff is on my other browser with all the passwords and stuff like that. So anytime that I try to put something up, I have to like enter my password like 25 times before it believes it's actually me. So I was, that's weird. Most of the time when I go to my channel, it tells me, it like automatically pops up with this video that's my channel trailer. But today when I go through it, it doesn't pop up, so I can't, because I don't know what's going on. But I hate to hear that thing pop up every time I click on it. So I always have to like click pause as fast as I can. But today, it's just like, now you know what I can do. I'll switch back to my other channel. And find the video. Yeah, that's weird. I don't know. I've got a channel trailer that pops up anytime I don't ever want to look at it. And now it's not there. So maybe it got deleted, I guess. That's just weird. I don't know what's been going on, but that's how everything has been for me for the last couple weeks. It's like, am I doing crap wrong? Yep, does not show my. Sorry guys, got a little distracted.
It's 674.
So this is it, and I'm going to show you just a tiny bit of it. You guys want to see it. Now's your chance to help me find the mistakes and fix it. Right now, I think the first 30 seconds is kind of boring.
Inmate 6744796, more commonly known as Chris Watts.
Here, let me turn this off. There we go.
Now spends his days within the walls of Dodge Correctional Institution in Waupun, Wisconsin. He lives in a state of regret and fear, his only comfort coming from a silent God to whom he endlessly begs for forgiveness. It's a forgiveness that never seems to come. Each night as he lies down to sleep, he...
See, I think all of this is boring. This is what, like the first 30 seconds? And it's boring. My original version, it's got images of Chris Watts playing with his family. Hey, YouTube streets, I haven't seen you around lately. How you doing, man? But yeah, guys, the original version of this video that I did, it just basically, there was a lot of like balance between like happy family and then the crime. And oh yep, I did do a story about Nutgate. It's kind of a crazy story. But right now I'm just showing everyone something I'm working on. This video is not done. It's kind of like almost done. Maybe the only thing really done is the audio narration.
Dreads the next day, haunted by the memory of his last day as a fighting man. Welcome to Timeless Mysteries. Please like and subscribe.
So, guys, I need to fix that intro. It's kind of not good. Let me see if I could find the original version. This is going to start in the wrong place, but hopefully I don't get an ad. Oops. I lost. Oh, yep, it's an ad. I can't see it. Okay. Okay. I mean, oh, I see. One second. I'm just...
Each night.
So this is the original one. This is when I'm still using my AI book. But it's fast paced.
Killed his daughters, not once, but
you guys know who this woman was in that
intro.
That was I believe that's Cadle, the author. She was getting, the letters of Chris Watts was like getting famous.
796, more commonly known as Chris Watts, now spends his days within the walls of Dodge Correctional Institution in Waupun, Wisconsin.
But he
lives in a state of regret and fear. His only comfort coming from a silent God to whom he endlessly begs for forgiveness. A forgiveness that never seems to come. Each night, as he lies down to sleep, he dreads the next day, haunted by the memory of his last day as a free man. Welcome to Timeless Mysteries. Today,
but you guys see the difference, right? It's not just my imagination. This old version is really good because of the way it goes back and forth between the smiling, happy family and those like prison clothes and the frowns, Hey, Daniel, how's it going? YouTube Streets, are you still here? Have you watched the Nutgate video? Because it's a really interesting story too. But today I'm talking about Lizzy Lee, but I kind of got sidetracked. But I'm going to be hopping off here pretty soon, I think. I only had a little bit left to talk about, I think. I think I was going to, where was I? So does anybody who's here right now, know anything about Lizzie, because I'm thinking she's fake. I think it's just like been thought up by somebody who wanted to get like 150,000 views, and that's why it's that information is out there. Um, so when you can't find anything about a person, really, it's like, are they hiding their real name? The fake stuff is just, overriding everything, and it's just insane. So I think, if anything, if she is real, I'm thinking that the most likely possibility of why she wants to marry Chris Watts, she's a writer, and they think that they can get the killer to open up about what he did. And I think the best way to do that is probably to pretend like that's not what you're doing. I mean, that's how con artists work, right? They trick you into stuff by, pretending, hey, well, I've got this big mountain of money for you, but, we got to do all these things first. But then that mountain of money is a mirage because it's not real. So I don't know what would be required for somebody like Chris Watts to be like, oh, this person is different, and write them back enough times that they think, well, I'm going to go visit them in person. And then, I don't know. But if they are planning a book, they could claim that they've had like intimate discussions with this guy. They know how he thinks. They can present the information however they want, especially if they get permission to do it. And maybe they get out of Chris this new, like, what happened, something new that it's just, yeah. I should have kept reading while I was reading this. Yeah, possibility 2. So possibility 1, she's a researcher, she's a writer, or something of that nature. Possibility 2, she's a grifter, she's a glory seeker. Maybe she doesn't care about the truth at all. She only cares about the attention she's going to get. So if her YouTube channel pops up, like, boom, instantly she gets, 100,000 subscribers, right? And then, when everyone finds out it's fake, I guess she'll probably be shunned off of Watts Island forever, but Daniel Wiley says, I can't remember the woman's name, but this host researched the inmate visitation and seemed to have gathered enough evidence to indicate that a certain woman intends on actually marrying him. Daniel, you missed like the hoops that you have to go through to get married. And one of those things is you have to have visited this person for over a year. And then once you actually make it through all the other hoops or whatever, then you have to wait 120 days to get an answer if you can or can't get married. So I may have seen the website you're talking about, and I've seen the information. Well, I've seen some information. I don't know. I don't remember the channel exactly, but I've seen the redacted visitation lists, and I've seen the unredacted visitation lists. And I think it just looks too simple to fake. And that's why I just don't believe it. But there's a lot of channels right now getting a lot of views, covering Lizzie. If she is the fake person, she's, as soon as she like goes public, she's gonna instantly have a built-in audience of obsessed people, all wishing that they had thought of it and got married to Chris Watts first. I won't be one of those, but if you're Chris Watts's fiance, or even just someone claiming to be chatting with him, you have leverage on YouTube that no one else does. You could do tabloid interviews, you could do news interviews, you can probably be interviewed on any channel that covers Chris Watts. And if you are a real person and you're watching, my email is in my channel About Me page. You can email me and you can come hang out and tell everyone who you are, where you're from, what you've done in life, and how you met Chris on my channel if you want. Sorry, I just had to put that out there, guys. You know, that's another thing. What if the picture is fake, but the person is real? It's hard to say with this stuff like this, you know. It just sounds far-fetched. I mean, it's crazy. You know, what comes to mind, I've said this already tonight, is the time that everyone thought Chris Watts was being moved to another prison. I don't know how many dozens of channels I saw cover that. And then everyone one day just stopped covering it. There's an endless amount of speculation that can be done on who this person is and why they are planning to get married to Chris Watts. And I think the simple answers are, A, you know, she's not real. I mean, it is the perfect time to put in a new character in the Chris Watts saga, you know. There's been a lot of fake videos that have been debunked by not just me, but other channels have said, hey, I don't think this is real either. So they needed something new. You know, there's another possibility of who she is. She's some kind of undercover law enforcement trying to find out some more information about Nicole Kessinger. I know some of you might like that idea pretty well. Oh, I missed something in the chat here. What is your secret? Where was I? Yeah, so if she's some sort of undercover agent or informant, on paper, it goes something like, you know, maybe FBI, maybe Colorado authorities still have nagging doubts about whether Chris Watts had help or if there were accomplices that went unpunished. So they had they green lighted this investigation operation and allowed somebody to cozy up to Chris Watts in prison, you know, talking about all the things that he likes and wants to hear, because you got to think about it. The prison guards read every bit of mail that comes in or out from him. You know, they could easily let a psychologist or an FBI behavioral and analysis person kind of read those letters and figure out what he's actually looking for in a person and make that person real. And then they use those new letters to cozy up to him, and then they have somebody drive over to the prison and, you know, and then they start talking in person. You know, when I think of that now, as I'm saying it out loud, it sounds a little strange because they would have to have some kind of prison code to talk about any of this. And I don't think it's easy just to come up with a prison letter writing system so that the guards don't know what you're talking about. And they don't get to have any private time. Even when they're in their little visitation center, they're behind glass, everything's recorded, I think. So I don't know. It sounds a little less likely that, well, I guess if she is law enforcement, it wouldn't really matter. But Chris would know that, and it seems like he wouldn't want to divulge any information on record anywhere. But what if she was able to get some information on Nicole Kessinger? Because we've heard it several times that, you know, in that book by, was it Carolyn or Coraline Cato? I forget her name sometimes. I know it's her last name is Cato, but she wrote the Letters to Watts book. And there was a lot of information in that book that kind of made it sound like somebody else was helping him do this stuff. The book was taken down. You can't buy it anymore. You can still find PDF files of it, and you can read it. It looks like they're real letters. Cheryl Cato. But, you know, people can make things look real, guys. You know, we watch movies that look so real all the time. And, you know, if Hollywood can do it, anybody can do it. Okay, so now I need to look back at the chat here. It looks like Olga, what are you saying that I'm missing here? I don't see what's going on here. Olga, maybe you are NK. Oh, okay. This is where it started, I think. Olga, are you really Nicole Kessinger? Well, you know, it would be really good movie magic if I was actually Nicole Kessinger. I've been faking it this whole time, guys. Oh, yeah, let's turn back on the rain. How about that? There. You guys can hear the rain outside. I actually love the sound of rain. And when my window's open, I hear it. It's actually raining today. Olga Watts. Olga, have you written to Chris Watts yet? And did you get a reply?
Today, our journey will leave you.
Oh, yeah. You guys, we forgot to talk about this. So what do you guys think? What do I need
Inmate 674796, more commonly known as Chris Watts, now spends his days within the walls of Dodge Correctional Institution in Waupun, Wisconsin. He lives in a state of regret and fear, his only comfort coming from a silent God to whom he endlessly.
So, you know, the first 10 seconds of a video, it's got to be the best. And this is, are you guys bored or are you still like interested? Let's see. Let me skip ahead. I don't know where's a good spot to start, but no, I'm not going to share the end. You guys got to watch the video when it actually releases to see the whole thing. But I am working on the introduction. I'm trying to get it, you know, to be more interesting. So people will, you know, I think if I can get them through the first 5 minutes, they can, you know, watch the whole thing. It's not going to be a long video. This video, I think, was only like 12 minutes originally. But yeah. So who is Lizzy Lee? You guys know her last name? Who is Milia? So yeah, back to my possibility that she's an undercover agent, posing as a love interest. She's young. Maybe she resembles somebody that Chris is attracted to. I would say, he would probably go for somebody who looks more like Nicole Kessinger or his wife. This person obviously isn't that type. They're different all around. I think they don't look anything similar. But if you look at the basics for Nicole and Shanann, they're kind of the same, like physical kind of similarities. So late at night, under the fluorescent lights of a prison visiting room, maybe he whispers a confession to her. Yes, and so helped him, he says. Well, then she's got proof, right? Because he said it. I don't believe him if he says it to me, but, if he confesses anything to her, you can just go ahead and cue the Law and Order sound. Dum dum. That scenario sounds more like a movie to me than real life. It flatters those of us who suspect that there's more to the story. And I'll admit, I'm curious about Nicole Kessinger. I don't know how she got away with deleting everything on her phone and not remembering what they talked about for 111 minutes. Those are the main red flags that I've seen. Everything else I think can be like, you can kind of like rule it out. I mean, even if there was a ping, the pings aren't 100% accurate all the time. They bounce around sometimes. There was supposedly a neighbor who said that they saw the truck, but I don't think I've ever heard which neighbor it was. But all of these things in the Watt Swamp, that is like, they're just, it's not an island, guys. This is a swamp, and that's how people get stuck in it. They call this kind of stuff going down in a rabbit hole, but really it's like quicksand. Once you start getting into it, you hear one little thing and you're like, oh, wow, what if that is real? And then you hear something else, and then it starts to add up. And you got to really look for actual things that you can see from a reliable place like, state website or federal website, those things, rather than just some person like me. I don't know the things that I've gotten wrong yet. You know what I mean? Like, I think I've seen him on several, I try to like make sure I've seen it on more than one person said it. But the more I've done this, the more I'm like, well, what if everyone else is wrong too? And it kind of makes me feel like I shouldn't go into it the way I do. But I think when we stick to the basics of the story, that Chris killed his family, and we can think about why he did it or stuff like that, or how to prevent it from happening to someone else, those are good things. But the speculation is just gossip. All of it is gossip. We just want to like share what we've heard because it's interesting. It's kind of human nature to gossip, I think. But undercover operations are really complex. They're very expensive and risky. And they're almost always reserved for ongoing crimes, like big crime networks, drug cartels, organized crime, terrorism, things like that. Not a kind of scenario like this. It doesn't make sense just to catch one person. They would, come bring in somebody. If you're an undercover agent, you're making like what, 60 to 100K a year, so that they got to pay at least your salary, right? Plus it's hazard pay. maybe. You know, if investigators genuinely believe someone like Nicole Kessinger was involved in the murders, they have had more than ample opportunity to build that case, or to, you know, tell us, hey, there is no case. That's why we haven't done anything. They haven't said either thing. You know, since they've, you know, stopped investigating her, a lot of people have pointed out a lot of interesting things that somebody should have investigated. So would the FBI really send out a fake fiance years after the fact when the case is closed? I don't think so. I think it would be kind of useless to do something like that. Unless Chris knows something from being in prison. That's a whole nother thing. Like, I don't know what. Like, just, it doesn't make sense that that would be true. You can hear about these things on other channels where they say, oh, this is some kind of undercover operation. It's not. I mean, I don't think it is. You know, if they did suspect Nicole Kessinger, they wouldn't have to, like, get a confession out of Chris. They could just go off the evidence and bring her in for questioning, and then, you know, after an interrogation, you know, probably gotten a few like hints at what she knows, and then they can like hone in on that. There's like a lot of techniques that prosecutors use to get information out of people, that detectives use to get information out of people. That's a lot cheaper than an undercover agent. I've also heard that, Olga, that she's driving about 8 hours to get there. I've seen I think it's a fake document of her name on the list. I don't know why anybody would drive 8 hours to talk for 30 minutes. Or does anyone know how long they get to talk when they get a visitor? Is it like even 30 minutes? So the fourth possibility is that she's nobody. She's not real. You can, oh, okay. Is that true? Like, you can really talk. They let you out of yourself for 3 hours if you got a visitor. Well, I guess getting out of yourself for that long is a good reason to have somebody come visit you. Yeah, okay. I'll look into it more, but if it's in the handbook, yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I try to think of myself in these prisons and what would I want to do. Personally, I think I would probably read a lot of books. I mean, that's all you can do. It's like better than a movie, you know, and it lasts longer. Hey, Lucy. Glad you're able to make it. What time is it there? Is it like 4 in the morning? But yeah, I don't think she's real at all. At least not in the way that she's being portrayed right now. Maybe the name Lizzie was floated out of thin air by somebody who wanted to stir the pot or get a bunch of views. You have to get up pretty early. What kind of do you have to go to work at like 5 o'clock or something? You know, maybe it just, I don't know. I don't think it would start as some kind of joke or a what if theory on something like that. I think somebody would have said it as a fact, and then somebody else heard it and it got spread like that. The internet is like an echo chamber. Once something catchy goes out, it's loose and it's never coming back. And, you know, it'll create more like rumors than anything else. It'll ping pong ball around until people forget it started as, speculation somewhere. I've heard from someone who heard from someone else, right? A friend of my friends has a friend who works there, and la da 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 da. Those kind of things I hear a lot. We all know that none of that is reliable. I think we learned, at least I learned when I was like 10 years old, when we used to play the gossip game in class with, the 20 other kids. The teacher would say something to one of them about, the monkey was eating bananas on the beach. And by the time it gets done, it's like not even about a monkey anymore. So I don't know. Lizzy Lee has all of the hallmarks of like an urban legend to me. Like there's just not enough specific information or enough like visible like proof that can't be just fake. I think once there's like a marriage license, that'll be public record, and anybody should be able to access that, especially if they know what city, state, and county that they were married in. Anytime you try to like look for something concrete about her, it just kind of dissolves into nothing. You know what? Maybe I can find some thunder too, but I'll have to do that for next time. I like the rain too. It's actually raining outside. Let me see if I can do this without messing up too much. Maybe you could see outside a little bit. But today it's got the rain there. I hear the rain, but I have the sound effect rain going right now. Ugh. So we're just kind of trying to figure out who Lizzie is still. I'm leaning towards she's not real. And that's what I was just talking about. If she's I kind of explained why she probably not like an FBI undercover person already. Yeah, it would be nice. This weather would be nice if it was like 80 degrees outside, but it's like 50, maybe 49. It's actually kind of getting cold. Like I can close my window and not get hot at all. Like this morning when I woke up, it was cold enough that I was like huddled under 2 blankets, not just one. And I wanted to stay asleep. Yeah, I wish I could figure out who was the first person to mention Lizzy Lee. Because I've seen some weird things like fake Facebook posts. They look fake because you don't really get any real information. And her name is kind of it seems like it would be a common name. Yeah, but I think in Florida you get some pretty cool lightning and thunder. Probably causes power outages and stuff. But it doesn't rain hard enough for thunder. There's never really a downpour here. Last winter, it didn't even snow. It mostly rained and froze. So every day was just like ice everywhere. So I'm kind of hoping this year we get snow instead, because I can drive on snow. Because if it stays under like 30 degrees for long enough time, like everything gets kind of ground down, and it's actually a lot easier to drive on than ice or snow that's like freezing over every day. But I'm telling you, I'm hoping we still got a few weeks left of summer here. But right now, this last week, it's felt like you could feel when it's sunny out, you could feel the heat from the sun. But when the breeze blows by, it's just colder than it's supposed to be. It feels like fall to me. But, I think if there was any like truth to this story, there would be some big channel or, something like TMZ would be like, hey, look what we found. And it would be big news, but it's not. If she is real, I think, I don't know that it would be, if she was real, she was visiting Chris Watts. I don't know that it's fair to call her like, crazy for doing it or anything like that. Because there could be some very, normal reasons why they know each other that we don't know about. And I only say that because just in case she's actually a real person, I don't think it's real, but just in case, you know what I mean? One of the things I saw kind of suggested that they were like communicating, on their religious beliefs. That's where they're what they're bonding over, really. But I can't imagine what somebody on the outside would gain from marrying somebody in prison, especially somebody who's not getting out. It sounds, the only thing that makes sense is that she's a writer, that she's trying to do something with that, or she wants to, be noticed on the internet and get subscribers. Those are all possible things for somebody who would want to marry Chris Watts, but I just can't think of like a regular reason. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see any benefit of it at all unless she's trying to gain something, because she would get absolutely nothing at all. I will let you say that, Cuff You, but I don't like saying that stuff about people because, well, I just don't know. Maybe they are crazy. But if you read that document of all the things that they have to go through to get approved to be married, I think they should add that. Check mental health. Check their mental health record. Make sure that they're like, Cuff You, that's what I said. Unless she's lying to him for some reason, and it's got to be for either A, notoriety, or B, she's writing a book, or she's giving information to somebody writing a book. Those are the only plausible things in my mind. But I'm not always right about this stuff. And I keep saying I don't think that she's actually real, and that she's actually really a fiance, or that they're applying to get marriage license or anything like that. Nicole Kessinger was the other woman. She was the mistress, and that name still hovers over the edges of this case. She's like, that's what everyone wants to know. Was she involved? Did she do it? And I don't know what it would say about Chris Watts if he decided to see somebody else. I think if I was him, I would have given up on Nicole Kessinger within the first week. But guys, it is the anniversary of this crime, and it's got to be hard for the close friends and family who knew these people. And, I just want everyone to remember that Shanann was a real person, that people loved her, despite any flaws or whatever. She was still human. People still loved her. And those children that Chris Watts took from this earth, they're never going to be forgotten. It's just too heartbreaking of a story for us, and you know, for any really, like, I don't know. I'm not very good at saying statements like that, so I apologize. It makes me nervous to say those things. But, you know, there is a few documented things that are not internet lore. That 111-minute phone call definitely happened on August 12th, 2018. So it would have happened sometime about this time, I think. Like, they'd be talking on this phone about this time 7 years ago. They spoke for almost 2 hours. You know, it was what, 111 minutes is what, 9 minutes shy of 2 hours. Yeah. You know, Bella, you know, I don't know. Both of those girls are just, they were adorable. They, I don't know, I have a hard time watching some of the stuff on them because, like, I forget for a second that what happened to them, and it's like, oh my God, that's so funny, that's so cute, or something, and then it comes back into my head that what had happened to them and how cruel that was. Ooh, Cuffy, what do you got about that call? You got some new details? But yeah, those girls were adorable, and I saw the funniest video of Celeste a couple weeks ago, and she was just being goofy for her parents, like just for fun, and it was just it was awesome. Yeah, and when I think of the struggle that Bella gave. Okay, I can let you hop on, but I do want to go in about 10 minutes. So yeah, let me grab the link. You know, I've been thinking about doing this anyway. After I think I talked to you one day, I was like, oh, don't everyone jump on with the link. But I think I might start doing this. I think it could be fun. But here, you can hop on. That is the link. I can have up to 8 people on. If there's anyone else who wants to jump on too. But I'm going to try to end this live in about 10 minutes. Hello.
Hey, hold on one second. Let me think mine. Okay. Did I join it? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Wait. Okay. So yeah, that call is real interesting. So I just started digging into this. I think you've mentioned this channel before. It's Unapologetically Me. True crime.
Yeah,
if you haven't, yeah, okay. Yeah. I love her channel. Anyway, so I'll try to find the episode and get it to you. But she talks about that 111-minute call. And she says that call is actually silent. There's no talking on it.
Oh,
and I was like,
you know,
and she has receipts. She has receipts. And so I was like, wait, what? So when I like really started backing up and, you know, looking at it, and she said the reason that she reasons in her head that it's silent because they were together working on this before Shanann got home. And I'm like, because her phone was in Frederick. You know what I mean? So it's like very intriguing.
Yeah. I think I've said that before. Well, what if like they like butt dialed somebody? They just weren't even actually talking. But the fact that Nicole Kessinger is like, well, I don't remember what we talked about, kind of makes me suspicious. You know that
for 111 minutes. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know. I still think that the fact that she said that they did talk kind of makes me wonder if the phone wasn't silent. But I've thought of that before, and it would make sense that maybe she didn't remember talking to him. That's why she couldn't remember, because she didn't.
Oh my God, that girl remembers. Trust me. Hey, let me
Yeah.
ask you this. So the other theory that I've heard lately is that he was actually at that site, and we should be able to find this in phone records if it's true. He was actually at Survey 319 the day before and prepped poorly Shanann's final resting place. And, you know, I'm like, if they were there together doing that, and that is, and I was just listening to another channel, this is really funny because he was just going off on this. You know, they always say, and it's kind of more they say, in a shallow grave. And this guy said, and leave the rake and the sheet laying beside it. I mean, you know, did he really ever think this was plausible for him to ever get away with this? I mean, come on.
Yeah, I've thought about that sheet a couple times too. It was like, really? How do you miss that? You know,
Right.
and then I think of the story about Chris Watts selling a 4-wheeler for the wrong price, you know, and I'm like, and you know, and then I think I read somewhere that he did like 11 different IQ tests and he had like 136 IQ, which is above average or something like that. And
I heard
how can that
140
be?
something. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean,
it wasn't like genius, but it was above 100,
right.
which is average.
Right.
Right. But
yeah,
how do you miss that?
I don't know, man. And then you put the other sheets, the remainder, in the garbage can at your house, in the kitchen. Dude, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
I know what the whole thing to me is this. This is it boiled down in a nutshell. He thought he was going to have more time. He was not expecting NA, and that screwed up his whole plan because scientifically it's been proven the girls would have no longer existed. It's awful to say, they would have gone away. However, the other part with Shanann, there's no way to hide that. That was going to come to light. No way to hide it. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't him on the site, it would have been somebody else that found her. So
yeah, you know, I keep when you talk about this part, like when the one thing that I cringe every time I see it whenever I watch Chris Watts run from his truck. Like he's really like, he looks like a bad actor. I'm not kidding. It's weird. He's like running around his truck like he's like in a hurry. He's really like scared that something's happened, but it looks like
that's crazy.
The actor.
Yeah, you know what it looks like to me? Like, I'm sorry. We have a delay. I'm sorry.
It's okay. You can go ahead.
Yeah, so when he runs up to the cop, because you're talking about that funny, I actually watched that scene earlier because I've been looking at it just because of what the anniversary is and all that. And just, you know, you always kind of like dive back into it if you're obsessed with a case like this and like, what did we miss? There's got to be something, you know, a look on someone's face, something, you know, or whatever. But when he runs up to that cop, the first thing that comes to my mind is he looks like a car salesman. Like you say, hey, how are you doing? My name's Chris. You know what I'm saying? It's like, can I help you with anything? I'm like, you know.
Yeah. I just thought it was really weird that he was running, like when he got there, like, oh my God, what happened? But if he knew.
Right, but he's been piddling around, yeah.
I mean, I would have been scared to find out what would happen. You know, like if I didn't know, I don't want to find out something bad. So I wouldn't be like running, I don't think. But
see, think about this, Rob. If you did it, how would you act? Now think about it. I know you would never do it. I know I would never do it. But I do think about that. I'm like, how would I act? I wouldn't go running up there being like all jolly and crap. I'd be like, what's going on? You know, something like that. I mean, you know.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of something I lied about in my youth that I tried to hide, and I can't think of anything. But I kind of know the feeling, but I mean, it's obviously not the same, you know, when you like do something as a kid, but.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine.
August said I would run away from that car salesman.
Yeah, I don't know that whole thing. I've watched it a few times. I might have to do it again.
Yeah, do it.
Because it's just like I remember the first time I saw that little girl in the bedroom, and I was like, "What the heck is going on?"
Yeah. Oh no, I believe. Unfortunately, I mean, I don't know, man. A lot of people say like they feel like they're stuck there. I don't feel that way. I feel like they're very free. That's what I have to believe in my mind, just to be able to deal with it in my heart. You know what I mean? And I do love Cece, and I am very sad about Shanann and everything. But Bella, God, there's just something about her that just grips my heart. It's like if you go back and watch the videos and you watch her face as opposed to like little crazy Cece and that kind of thing. And it's just, I don't know, man. She just grabs me. I don't know.
Yeah, it's that video, that Daddy's a Hero song,
Oh, I know.
Breaks my heart. But the video of Cece that breaks my heart is that one where she's trying to do something goofy at the table and she does it over and over again.
She's high.
Yeah.
She's high on her drugs from her operation. She had her ears done or something that day. That's why Shanann's making fun of her.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. Because it was that day, and so she's a little bit buzzed still from her little anesthesia, and so they were kind of making fun of her. And they said that Bella had passed out; she was asleep.
Yeah, well, she is adorable. She was so funny, and she was doing it intentionally to get laughs. And I thought that made. I mean, I don't know. A lot of kids try to be funny and they're not, but she was successful.
Yeah.
Like
she was funny all the time to me. She was funny all the time. I mean, the faces she would make, and like I remember, like she was so brave compared to Bella, because like even the rain in North Carolina when they were up there when they were visiting before all this happened, and Cece was out playing in the rain, and Bella was like, "No, I don't want to get wet" or whatever. That's just how Bella was, you know what I'm saying? And Cece was all about it. It was just, I loved her. She was just wide open. I loved her. Great kid.
Yeah.
And the other thing that got me today, and then I'm going to get off here, is one more thing got me on this other show, and it was him saying in an interview, you have to go watch this too, like the first 10, 15 minutes in, he's talking to Coder, and he says, that now he's leaning towards, because it's been so long, something, bad happened or whatever, and he said, or it would have had to been somebody who had car seats. So I'm sitting there going, okay, you idiot, this is the wrong path. Shut up. So anyway, he says, but Bella, she would be able to fit in a booster seat now. And the first thing coming out of my mouth is like, yes, you SOB, she would. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but she never will. And it just hit me. This case just still gets me.
Yeah, when you talk about the booster seats, I don't think there was anything in Chris's truck. But the reason why I think that they were still alive is because the light in the truck kept coming on and off during, and I think the kids were just in the truck playing. And I know a lot of people don't believe that they were alive then, but I think they were. And I don't know that Chris made a decision until he got there. That's kind of how
alive. Yeah. I think Bella was alive, but I don't think Cece was. Or if she was, she wasn't. I
hope, I don't know. It's hard to think about, but I do know that light coming on seems like something a kid would do.
I agree. Yeah. I agree. And honest to God, I don't ever
to a boosted car seat.
Yeah. I don't ever see anything, and I swear I've watched it 1,000 times, Rob. I swear to God I have. I don't ever see anything that looks like him carrying Shanann to that truck. Nothing. She weighed 170 pounds that time. You can't do that smoothly, and I don't ever see him struggle. So my whole theory, I'm still stuck with it, and unapologetically me too. She went out the back, man. I'm telling you. I mean, I don't know. That's just my thought. Oh yeah, always says alive.
The garage door, I don't think it came open, right? Because he did park. He backed into the driveway right next to the garage, and if it was where the garage door opened, because I don't think it doesn't look like it does, but if it did, then he could have probably dragged her out that way without being seen by the camera.
And put her in the back. Yeah, see, no, I would agree with you there, because I mean, his truck does back into the garage. It's absolutely in the garage. But my thing was this: yes, he could have put her in the back of the truck in the, because we couldn't see the tailgate. You know what I'm saying? We couldn't see it. So it's like, you know, and but then the other thing. Go ahead. I know what you're going to say. Go ahead.
He says that she was in the truck with the girls.
Yeah, I know.
But you know, he also lies a lot. So I
yeah. He lies poorly too, very badly. Bless his heart. I mean, you know, this chick, as far as Lizzy Lee, I feel like, you know, I don't think she's real. If she, put it this way, if she is using that name, it's not a real name. She may be a real person, and she may be playing Christopher. I hope to God that's what she's doing, because that would be hilarious to me. Then I think that could be true. But I've been all over the internet, like searching for it and everything, looking for one-offs, like on Google, on Edge, on everything, on GPT chat, on Wikipedia, everything. And I found nothing about her other than it's speculation. And that one crazy chick that says, you know, she knows, you know, everything psychic. I'm like, okay, whatever. So that's the only thing I would say about that. I don't know if anybody in the chat believes it or not. I don't know. So, but I don't. Olga, hold on one second. I got to ask this, Rob. Olga, you live in Florida? Does she live in Florida? Because, like, she said there's a hurricane coming, dude. And I didn't even know there was one coming.
I don't think it's my place to say where people live. They could. I
think she told me.
Yeah.
She told us. She told us actually earlier. Yeah. So I didn't know that. So let me tell you, where do you live at, Rob?
I'm in Anchorage, Alaska.
I want to go to Alaska so bad. It's like one of my dream destinations. Yeah. So here in Florida, when we get a hurricane, basically what we do is we run and get some hot dogs, some charcoal, some beer, ice, and fill our coolers up, and it's all good. We ride it out. So we're crazy. We don't even flinch anymore. Just like, whatever, man. So, but anyway, well, I'm glad you let me jump up, and I just wanted to put that thought out there. Just y'all do some digging on that 111-minute phone call, and if you have, I'll try to get it to you, Rob. The episode. So
okay. Yeah, I'm interested if there's
look at it.
Yeah, you know, I am interested to see if there's any way you can determine if there was people actually talking on this call or not. I mean, I'm curious anyway. I don't know if it's possible to determine or not, but I'll look into it.
I think it is.
And
but
if you can send me that link.
I will. Wouldn't that put a whole new spin on it, though? It'd be like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I came up with some pretty good scenarios of what actually happened during that 111-minute call, but none of them was, you know, a butt dial.
Or they were together doing something, preparing, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, if there was a plan like that, say they called each other, and it made it. You know, Chris left his phone at home. She left her phone at home. It would look like they were talking to each other. But meanwhile, instead of being on the phone, they're out doing something together somewhere else.
That is exactly the direction she goes. You nailed it. You got it. You just nailed it.
Well, that's how I would tell a story, you know, if I was, you know, trying to make it interesting. That's a plot twist.
That's exactly what she says, too. You just nailed it. So I was like, oh, my God, I never thought about that. So anyway, all right. Well, thanks for letting me jump up, man. I don't ever get to usually stay on this late, so I'm not working for a little bit here. So I'll probably be jumping one more. But I like your rain music. I like the rain. The rain's better, in my opinion. You need some thunder. You know, it's like ominous kind of subjects, and then when it's all lighthearted, they do your music. But I love it.
You know, yesterday I was playing with the music, and I was like, "This is how I feel today." And I played some like, Spanish music, but I don't know. I got a whole bunch of things.
Yeah, I like the rain day. I mean, I love rain. Anyway.
I do need to get off here. It's been 2 hours and 20 minutes, guys. But I do appreciate you hopping on. That was fun.
Bye.
Yeah. Anytime you want to hop on, just let me know.
Okay.
And I'll let you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
See you later. So thanks, guys. I'm glad you were here. All of you that have missed this, I hope you watch the replay. Make sure you are hitting the like and subscribe button. If you're still on the live, click the heart button thing as many times as you can before I hit the end live stream. And try to, at least go back and make some comments on the actual post afterwards. That would be great. Thanks, guys. I'll catch you in the next video.